It's Whitney Bro, and in today's video we're going to be doing a cheek collection and declutter video. So the first thing, it's kind of a little all over the place. The first category that we're going to do is bronzer, because that's what I have the least of in here. So the first thing, it's not in here, but it's the Tammy X Revolution Paradise Glow palette, which obviously a very well loved bronzer in here. I will be keeping this, not getting rid of that. The next bronzer that I have is the NYX Buttermelt bronzer in the shade Butter Off, and it looks like that on the inside. I will not be getting rid of this either. I absolutely love this bronzer. I think the formula of it is amazing. Okay, so next bronzer, I have the NYX Matte Bronzer, which was the original formula of the bronzer they released. I won't be getting rid of this one either because it's perfect for me in the winter. Definitely will be keeping this one. As far as the bronzer that I'm going to declutter is the Jouer Bronzing Duo. It's okay. I've just used it recently, and quite honestly, I just really don't like it anymore. So, no sense in keeping it. And then, last but not least, is the Fenty Cheeks Out Cream Bronzer. I think they're discontinuing this because a lot of the shades have been taken off of Ulta. My guess is they're going to re-release it in either a different form or make it have a different formula. Either way, I won't be decluttering it because I am so close to finishing it. So I will be hanging on to that for another great option for me in the winter. For this indie brand bronzer, it's an illuminating bronzer. I will be hanging on to this because I don't think I can get another one, and I really do enjoy the formula. The Revolution Glow, which I don't, is that even a thing anymore? Anyway, the Revolution Glow and Rachel Leary Golden Hour, it's supposed to be a highlighter, but it's a little too dark to really be a highlighter. It's more of a shimmery bronzer. But I will be keeping this because I do enjoy the formula, even though I really don't think you can get it anymore. Couple more in the bronzer collection. I do have the Fast Base Concealer. I use this as more of a contour than a concealer. I will be keeping it because I can't really remember how I feel about it. So I'm going to use it again and see if it's worth hanging on to. Last but certainly not least, the Soul Body Bronzing Balm in the shade Deep. I don't know if the sister brand to ColourPop makes this product anymore, but I really do enjoy it. I took it with me on vacation to Mexico, and it was amazing. Stood up in heat, all that good stuff, so I will definitely be hanging on to this. The next category that we're going to be doing is powders, and first up I have this Crystal Rays Luminous Translucent Setting Powder from Pacifica. I remember loving this powder. I haven't used it in a very long time, so I don't want to say I'm going to get rid of it yet, but it's going to go in the maybe pile. The next powder is the e.l.f. pressed powder. It's called the Prime and Stay Finishing Powder, and I am going to hang on to this powder because it is a good little touch-up powder. I do think this was only a couple of dollars at max, maybe $4, so I'll be hanging on to that. Next powder I have is the RCMA No Color Loose Setting Powder, and I will be hanging on to this because I'm very close to finishing it off, and I will more than likely repurchase it, if not for my personal makeup, for my makeup kit. So that is a definite yes on keeping it. And then last but not least, the Halo Glow setting powder in the shade medium. I will definitely be keeping this. I absolutely love this powder. I really do think it's a hidden gem in regards to drugstore powerhouse products. Next category that I'm going to go into is the blush category. And I do have quite a bit of blushes, so we're going to go through those as fast as I can. I do have some in a different drawer over here that I'm going to be pulling out to talk about, but obviously you won't see any movement here because this drawer with these products would be way too full. I wouldn't even be able to open it. These are my Made by Mitchell blushes. I have quite a few shades. I have Melon Sorbet, which looks like that, Peach Sugar, Mango Daiquiri, a Shy Boy, Where's the SPF, Cowlick, Posy Rosy, Dairy Queen, Milk Mix, and this should have been with the bronzers, but oh well, the blush bronzed. So for the ones I will be getting rid of, it's not because I don't love them or the formula, it's mainly just because I'm out and I've scraped the tubes and I think I've been in denial about being out, and that's in the shades Melon Sorbet, Toned Up for the blush bronzed, and Peach Sugar. I will definitely be repurchasing these, but I will also be decluttering them as of right now. The Half-Caked Makeup Candy Paint, and I have those in the shades Club Paradise, which is this really pretty, it's described as a terracotta, and then I also have the shade Velvet Tiger, which is more kind of like a mauve-y rose. And then I have the shade Millions of Peaches, which again speaks for itself. It's a really pretty peach. And then last but not least, I have the shade American Pie that I really love. It's kind of a bright fuchsia on the cheeks. But I will be keeping all of those because I absolutely love their formula and I think it is fantastic. The Sweet Cheeks Matte Blush, and this is in the shade Silence is Golden. I do think I'll be getting rid of this because I honestly just don't use this. I don't reach for it. It doesn't show up very good on my skin tone. It kind of just makes me look jaundice, not the cute effect that yellow blush is supposed to have. So I'm going to declutter it. I may try to see if one of my friends would like it, that it would show up a little bit better on them. Next, I have the Tarte Amazonian Clay blushes. This one's in the shade Blushing Bride, and then this one's in the shade Glisten. I will be keeping both of these as they do tend to come in handy for me on certain occasions where I don't want to wear a cream blush. I do have the equivalent shades in a powder formula, so I'll be hanging on to those. Then next up, I have the Milani Romantic Rose blush in the shade... Oh, Romantic Rose is the shade, sorry. I think I'm going to declutter this. It's broken anyway, and the thing I don't like about it is it's a little misleading because it's hollow on the inside. It's not like a thick, like once that broke, I can see the bottom of the pan almost completely around underneath that rose shape. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I don't feel like this suits me or my makeup taste anymore, so I will be getting rid of it. So next up for blush, I have the AF94 Playdate Multi-Use Cheek and Lip Color in the shade Savor. And it's, again, just this really pretty terracotta, great for kind of an everyday or even like a no makeup look. I really do love this formula. I'll be getting more of these, not decluttering this. Next up, we have the Blush Mallow from J-Cat Beauty in the shade Tutti Fluffy. I really enjoy this formula, and I think the shade of this is really pretty and kind of unique in my collection, so I will be hanging on to this. And then I do also have the e.l.f. Putty Blush in the shade Turks and Caicos. I'll be hanging on to that as well. This is one I also probably will purchase future shades of. Last but certainly not least, I have my NYX Sweet Cheeks Blush Mousse in the shade Almost Famous, which it is as orange as the bottle is, which I love. I will definitely be hanging on to this because I really like this formula because it's not too much pigment to where you feel like a clown, but you're still getting the richness of the color. Last but not least, we're getting on to the highlighters, which is the largest part of my cheek product collection. So we're going to go ahead and go with the Sungasm highlighter from Catrice. This is discontinued, and I will be keeping this. It's not a glow from within type of highlighter. It is very blinding, but I love it, and I do think there's a place for highlighters like that in everyone's collection. So I will be hanging on to this one. Next up, we're going to talk about the ColourPop Super Shock Cheeks. I have them in the shade Parasol and the shade Flexitarian. One is kind of a silvery, very blinding highlight. The other one's a little more subtle, peachy toned highlighter. I love both of these for two totally different reasons, but I'll be hanging on to both of those today. Oh God. Oh God. I'm being dramatic. Anyway, ignore that. All right, next up we have this liquid highlighter from So Susan Cosmetics. It's a beautiful color. I just never use liquid highlighter, and I've kept this every time I've gone through my products. I've kept this telling myself I'm going to use it, and I never do. So I will be decluttering this today. Next up, we're going to talk about the highlighter from JJ Cosmetics, which was an indie brand that a friend of mine used to own. It is no longer in operation, sadly, so I will be hanging on to this, if not just for nostalgia's sake. The shade itself is a very, very beautiful kind of greeny gold, very, very blinding. Love it. Okay. Next up is the Nubian Loose Highlighter in the shade Nefertiti from Juvia's Place. This was one of their first releases. I don't know if they even make or sell this highlighter anymore, but I will be keeping it. It is a beautiful, I keep it in the box because it has a lot of spillage, but it is this beautiful gold shade. Kind of leans there's a slight rosiness to it, but nothing too overpowering to steer it away from being a true gold. So I'll be hanging on to this. Do love it. And on the subject of loose highlighters, oh, I forgot this in the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek. This is in the shade Monster. I honestly don't use this as much, if at all, because it just, quite honestly, just looks weird on my skin tone. I was hoping it was going to work out a little bit better. I'm going to declutter it from the highlighter collection and put it with my eyeshadows to see if I can get more use out of it that way. But I will not be using this as a highlighter. Now, onto the subject of loose highlighters that I started but never finished. I have two loose highlighters from a friend of mine's brand called Drench Cosmetics. There is the Starlight highlighter, which is this beautiful rose gold shade, as well as the Astral highlighter, which is a gorgeous pinky gold. It looks more pink in the container than it reads on the face. It kind of reads more gold with a pink shift, but I really do love both of these, so I'm going to be hanging on to those. And then I do have another cream highlighter from Rituel de Fil. This is a little sample that they gave me, which I thought, I remember getting it I remember getting this sample and thinking, oh wow, I'll go through that quickly. There's not a lot there. But plot twist, I ended up not liking it. And same with the highlight intensifier in the shade Alchemist. And I just don't like it. I don't use it. I want to like it. Every time I swatch it on my hand, it's beautiful. But how I do my makeup, it lifts my foundation. When I try to use it with my fingers, it doesn't work well with a brush. So this product just isn't for me, and I am going to be saying goodbye to it. So for the last few highlighters that we have, there is an indie brand called Nyla Beauty. They don't exist anymore, sadly, but this highlighter is a beautiful translucent pink shifting highlighter. I will 1000% be keeping this because you can't get it anymore, and it is really a special product. The Lottie London and Layla Loves collab highlighter, I will definitely be hanging on to this because it's essentially 4 highlighters in one. You can swirl them all together to get one shade, or you can dip your brush individually into the separate tones. This is kind of a light gold, a deeper bronzy gold, a rose gold, and then more of a silver leaning highlighter. I really do love it. My only qualm, I wish it came with a mirror, even if it was only like a half mirror, but still a really good product for the price point. Down to the last 6. We're going to hammer this out in this same clip. So, first up, Laura Geller Baked Gelato Lace Illuminator in the shade Gilded Honey. This is also discontinued. I will not be getting rid of this. This is a fantastic highlighter. If somehow Laura Geller's team is watching this, bring it back. Just bring it back. It doesn't need to be gone. Bring it back. It'll be all right. Next up, the Beauty Bay highlighter in the shade Beam. I don't know if this was discontinued because it was on clearance, and I'm not sure if that meant they were getting rid of it or if they just had a really good sale. But in the shade Beam, I will be hanging on to this because it is a really beautiful formula. It does have some glitteriness in it, but a gorgeous, gorgeous highlight. And then I have the infamous Ofra Rodeo Drive. I will be hanging on to this. I don't support Ofra. Might as well fucking say the name like that. I don't support them as a company anymore because of the stances they've taken, but this is a fantastic highlighter, and I will continue to get use out of it. Then I have the Be Perfect Get Wet highlighters. This is in the shade Skin Sheen. This is part of the Stacey Marie collab. I believe these came out with the Love Tahiti palette. I wanted to love this as a highlighter way more than I do. I don't like how glittery it is. It's too glittery for me. I think if you're going to like a festival or something like that where it fits the theme of what you're doing to be this glittery, then you would absolutely adore this highlighter. I don't go to that many festivals, but I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. I'm going to put it in the maybe pile and think about it while I'm talking about these other two. So, second to last, we have the Jouer powder highlighter in the shade Tan Lines. This one is a little dark for me. It's closer to using it as a bronzer, but I do really enjoy the formula, and I will be hanging on to this because it's a good product to use. I just picked the wrong shade. And then last but certainly not least, I have the Candy Paint in the shade Sugar Cookie, which looks like this on the inside. It's kind of a balmy highlighter. I don't know if I got a defective batch or what the issue is, but this does not work for me. It lifts my foundation. I end up looking greasy instead of highlighted, so I will be getting rid of this. Gonna wipe this out real quick, and we'll be back for some quick ASMR refilling. So now that everything's packed in here again, I'm going to go ahead and get this drawer put back, and then we can talk about what we kept and an update on the maybes, if the maybes are a no or a yes. These were the maybes that we had, and I think I've updated my feelings to being, yes, we're going to get rid of all of these, because I've thought about it. I don't reach for them. I don't use them. There's no point to keep them here. So we can go ahead and leave them up here, and then we're going to lay out everything else that we're going to get rid of. So the Rituel de Fille highlighter is going to be going bye-bye. The Milani Romantic Rose, Fenty Beauty highlighter duo, the NYX Sweet Cheeks Gold Blush, the Jouer Bronzing Duo, the Candy Paint and Sugar Cookie, the Makeup Revolution Glass Illuminator, the Rituel de Fille highlighter in the shade Ghost Light, just a little sample, but still, the So Susan Dream Maker liquid highlighter, and the 3 blur shades, which again, these I'm only getting rid of because I'm out of them, but it's Peach Sugar, Melon Sorbet, and Toned Up for the blush bronzed. But of everything, I know I definitely kept more than I got rid of. For the sake of everything and the sake of this video, I do think this is a decent amount for me to get rid of. I did not think I was going to get rid of this many things when I started the video, so I would say this is a successful declutter. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to check out my other videos up here. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!